Hey, what is up? What is up, YouTube gaming family? It is IK right here. I'm back at it with another video once again, and Happy New Year's to all. It's been a while since I made a little video. But yeah, I wanted to kind of make this little video to kind of talk about Mortal Kombat once again, and shout out to Sikander555. I'm doing some little commentary over his his basically secondary channel where he's just playing MK1 casuals. But yeah, definitely enjoy this rating gameplay that he's doing really good with. Actually Raiden got buffed in the most recent patch, and he's actually pretty OP. I'm not gonna lie. I think Raiden actually feels a lot better compared to Beta Raiden. Like Beta Raiden was really good, until he got nerfed, and then Raiden was crap, and then now he's like at least like a top 10, character that's really like A minus to like A plus. So yeah, I'm definitely going to get like my skills up, to get back to playing him. But yeah, that's not about the conversation today. Definitely go subscribe to Sikander's secondary channel, Sikander555 Extra. Be sure to like, rate, comment, subscribe, share the video around. And yeah, let's get right into it. So, yeah, for today's video, we're going to be talking about, does MK1 really require skill, and has Mortal Kombat entered the Dark Ages? Um, I think this is a very interesting topic that nobody ever talks about. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. Shout out to Tom Brady. Tom Brady, basically made it really clear that NRS developers have kind of like watered down the game so bad where, you know, back in the past where quote unquote the FGC legends like Tom Brady, or maybe even like guys like Justin Wong to a certain degree, or anybody like that, PL obviously, Foxy Grandpa. Like, I mean, I don't harp over the FGC like that, but it's like I've been known, a lot of good players, like in terms of seeing them compete in the past. And let me just be real, like, for those of you that may not know me, like, I've been had this YouTube channel for quite a long time. And, I want to say like my very first ever video, that was like back in like 2012. So, I mean, either way, it's kind of funny because it's like, I have so much memory from the past that kind of like made me so invested into like video games and just having fun. But I will tell you, as far as my days of being competitive with fighting games, Mortal Kombat was definitely my go-to game to dominate and just be good as a single player competitor. Just as far as like facing against CPU and being good at the game. But then once I took it online and I actually like got good with like my characters that I was maining, which, I primarily main Scorpion, and then eventually it was Sub Zero, and then I eventually took that a little bit deeper with characters like Ermac. Um, I want to say after that, my other characters that I liked Liu Kang, I liked Raiden, I liked Johnny Cage to a certain degree. Nightwolf was really good. I really enjoyed Nightwolf back in MK Deception, or wait, was he in Deception? I want to say he possibly was either Deception or Deadly Alliance. And then after that, like I like Reptile, and then I also like Rain, and then Tremor. He really wasn't much of an impact in most games. He should have been in the early Mortal Kombat games, including the 3D era games. He was really only put into a roster ever since Mortal Kombat 9, where he was actually on the PSP version, where if you bought the PSP version of the game, you were able to play as a Tremor on Mortal Kombat 9, which a lot of people don't know. But I actually knew, like about that. But yeah, let's just talk about what's going on with MK. as a whole. Shout out to Tom Brady once again. Tom Brady made a really good point to say that like over like the past few years or few decades, NRS has done really bad with making the game very non-skilled to win, to make you feel like that you're good at the game when in reality you're really not. And I will say, as far as like my earliest time frame of playing Mortal Kombat, I've been playing Mortal Kombat since like what? Ever since I was 4, at least 4, but the very first MK game that I was playing was MK, it was MK1, and then I then played MK3 when I had the Super Nintendo, and after that MK2 because I had like the original PlayStation, and then I had the Super Nintendo, so yeah, I was basically like playing those games constantly every single day. And I eventually got really good and I just naturally clicked on to my characters. Now, as far as like playing online, as far as getting my skills put to the test, that was MK9. MK9 was like the very first MK that got me hooked on to Mortal Kombat to be, competitive and actually like it. Hold on, give me 1 second. All right, I'm back. So yeah, back when I was playing Mortal Kombat, I was primarily playing online officially during the time frame of Mortal Kombat 9 that was like basically put out on the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. I do remember back in the PS2 days, I was able to play Mortal Kombat Deception online. I think that was like the very first Mortal Kombat game that was available online. I think Deadly Alliance had online too, but I could be wrong. But yeah, I actually enjoy playing those games online too, and then also Armageddon as well. But Deception was probably like the best game to actually enjoy playing online because, if my knowledge, serves me correct, the netcode was actually a lot better playing those games, so it wasn't as bad compared to like, obviously MK9, which MK9 everybody knows that their netcode wasn't really that good. So I mean, it was still fun to play. Don't get it twisted. NRS obviously had like a brand new 3D era game that was more it was more prioritized with good graphics, good gore, good featured combos that you could see on the screen, but it wasn't focused on like how much, mechanics that you can kind of put into actually like utilizing like your skill in the game, but more so like how much can you like, be at that level to actually like compete at the online, competitive level because of the game wasn't properly, balanced to that particular degree. But either way, I think MK9 we can definitely say as a community, well for most people that was like the very first ever Mortal Kombat where you could actually test your skills up against a pretty good decent player base. The only problem with MK9 is that they didn't have Combat League, and then on top of that, you didn't know if the opponent was actually like a really good opponent. So it's like, you can't really tell how many matches have they really won, or more so, like you can't really determine if that was actually like, like a really good player per se. So that's why, that the rank mode actually gave out skill for you to like, utilize like your character. But more so, let's just kind of go back to the topic. MK1 as a video game, does it basically not require, yeah, like basically does MK1 really take any skill to play? And the short answer is no. Obviously the main reason is the cameo system. The cameo system is horrible. I was initially thinking MK1 was going to be that game where you can just go ahead and just basically have a tag team mode to have cameos be like your little representative tag and partner. And then it can kind of be similar to maybe like Tekken Tag, where you tag basically, like you tag your partner in, and then the partner is probably there maybe for X amount of seconds, or it's just like a regular tag mode where you have all your characters and you just go at it. And, truth be told, like, this game had a built in tag mode that NRS never wanted to put out. And I don't understand why, but the tag mode system would have been really good in the first place instead of having this trash cameo system. But the reason being for this is simply because NRS knows that that would actually like put more work into into the game, where a lot more people would be saying, "Oh, well, if we have tag mode instead of cameos, then then how are you gonna balance out all the crazy damage that people do, blah blah blah." And it's like, bro, like, I'd rather take 2v2 over cameos, because at least with 2v2, you can't really just do like the infinite 50-50 mix-ups like you kind of see with any of these crazy teams like, Noob Saibot Janet Cage or Sindel Tremor or Reiko Tremor. All these like carried meta dog teams that don't really mean anything to any Mortal Kombat, real skill player. But it's like to the average retard, like, excuse my French, that's actually too, like, basically they're too malignant in their own ignorance to be, a slave to the meta, and they don't care because they just care about winning. They don't care about actually like playing with skill. And the truth is that when you play Mortal Kombat, the biggest issue is that you have such a massive gap that has players that are good, that actually put time in, like, into the game, and then you also have players that are bad, that don't put a lot of time into the game, but they actually can compete with broken teams because they just know the combos. They just basically button mash as much as they can because they're trying to win, but they're also not trying to lose as many games, because especially with Combat League is a great addition to the game. One thing that NRS should have done is that they should have had like, you know, they should have training rooms for you to go in while you're queuing up for games so you can like practice on your character. Because at least with Tekken and Street Fighter, they got that right. Because, you don't have to wait for, a match while you're sitting in a lobby, and then you can't, basically warm up with like your character. And then somehow once you're getting in, it's like, like you're pretty rusty because, it's kind of similar with like my issue with anytime that I play, like, let's just say League of Legends, like, if I don't touch up the game for like at least like, let's just say 6 months, granted, like, I can very well do well in the game coming back. But if it's like, oh, I'm just gonna go ahead and just play ranked on my very first game, no. Like I actually have to get like a few normal games in, and then what I usually do is like I usually get like a rank flex game so I can kind of like get my skills back up to where I need to be. But it's like, that's just kind of like how I do it, because it's like anytime that I'm ever having to play ranked, I don't really think about like, oh, like, I just need to just play normals for a good portion of the day, and then I'll be fine, and then I'll play a few games of rank. No, like, I at least play a good solid couple games of normals, and then I play some flex queue games, at least like one or two, and then after that I just go right into rank solo, and then, like, I'm naturally good, at what I do. Granted, as far as like my elo goes, the highest elo that I've ever, achieved is actually gold 3. So, I'm actually doing pretty solid, guys. I should probably get back into like my League of Legends videos, but the main issue is like I just don't feel like playing all these crazy rank games just to kind of like give you guys what you guys want to see. But then it's like I'm not really like I'm not really feeling motivated to kind of like give you guys all that hard work that I'm putting in to face all those crazy dog shit, team comps. And it's like, nah, I don't want to feel rage, but I also don't want to give viewers something that they want to see where it's like, oh, well, I'm giving you content for what y'all like for League of Legends, but as far as like my, incentive to do those videos, no. I would have to like at least at least do live streams. Like live streams are better because at least that way you can see all the games. And if people want to clip that out and share it, go right ahead. But yeah, just doing like individual videos, nah. I rather just save me the energy and just kind of do like that. Unless if I was high elo and I actually did do a few games to record my gameplay, I would do it, but it's like at the end of the day, I rather just play popular video games on my channel and just grow from there. Like whether that's Arc Raiders or any other, popular level game that's actually out there. But yeah, back to MK1. The game has definitely lost its value in skill, and with MK1, this game does not really give us like the category of feeling like that you actually have to be smart in the game. Now, compared to what I had said initially from other MK games like MK9, MKX, MK Deception, Deadly Alliance, MK Armageddon to a certain degree, simply because, Armageddon, it was good with certain combos, but it kind of had like infinite 50/50s that didn't really feel like Mortal Kombat. It kind of just felt like an arcade beat 'em up type of game, and whoever got the infinites going, you could just basically hyper mix people, and then, but the problem was is that, you weren't having any proper openings with like your characters. So if you had like a really good character that was able to like, do a lot of punish, staggers, you're basically winning, 9 times out of 10. Versus in, let's just say, a game like MK Deception, you actually had to think in that game, but the game was actually fun. But yeah, back to what I was saying. Yeah, MK1 is definitely at the bottom of the barrel in terms of skill, and I don't think this game gives you the player enough time to actually learn the game and actually wanting to like get really good and actually like feel like that you're motivated to compete at a good level. Because I think if you compare it to any other, um, how should I say, if you compare it to any other fighting game that's actually difficult to play, like I'll use like Tekken, at least like Tekken 7. Like Tekken 7 has a really good track record with the game being good. And even though that the roster was huge and a lot of people complained to say that the game was trash, but the game was really good in terms of mechanical skill, and obviously Tekken 8 was not all broken. Well, yeah, like compared to Tekken 8, the game was not as all crazy broken compared to Tekken 8 that has all the broken shit that you see. Like Tekken 7 was actually good enough for you to enjoy, and you actually had to think in that game. But it's not like you can't just dominate players overnight. No, you actually have to lab your characters and be smart with your characters. So I think that's where NRS had screwed over. They decided to walk away from the principles of making a Mortal Kombat that was actually based off of being, intelligent. And then over time, they ended up just saying, well, you know what, we're just going to cater to the stupid casuals that will buy the game, and then we'll just make up this lie to say, oh, well, like you can just master any character. And guess what? If you guys want to go out of like your way to be high level gamers and pros, basically we're gonna just make the game dumbed down to the point where you don't have to do much to get 45% one bar combos, or at least up to 50% mix up combos. Like, dude, like it's just absolutely insane. Like because it's like Have you seen any other video game where you're able to just go out of like your way, pick one character and do at least up to 50 plus percent of a like you know of a another another like opponent's health bar, where you're just able to just do infinite 50/50s. So it's like as long as you get let that hit, and then you're able to basically whiff punish your opponents to dominate them, then I guess you're just ultimately like the best player in the planet, because you're able to just beat the crap out of people and just get free wins off of, spamming broken combos. So it's like, no, like that doesn't, signify skill, and it doesn't make you a better player. It just makes you look like a scrub, and you're not really good at the game until you actually like prove yourself up against like tougher level opposition. So, yeah, I mean, I think overall, um, MK1 has definitely shit the fan, and you know it's very sad because this game could have been one of the best games of our generation, because this game definitely hit this game definitely did well with some of the mechanics that you're able to do in this game. Um, Basically let the like kind of like the footsies movement that you're able to do with certain characters, like let's just say Raiden or Sub Zero. Like you're able to kind of like read like opponents that are coming at you, and depending on your character, like the mobility reads are actually really good with having to start combos. And I think that's something that NRS did really good with keeping this game, somewhat decent, like in terms of its, competitive nature. Um, some other things that it also did good with is having let the two bar, um, you know, basically let the two bar, duck, let the micro duck, uppercut, fatal, let the fatal uppercut counter, right? Basically, what I'm trying to say is like that's that move where you're able to kind of use like the uppercut when you micro duck, an opponent that's trying to combo you, and then if you spend 2 bars on it, it's a unbreakable combo that you can do, or leading into a fatal blow combo, which I actually like a lot. So you could basically uppercut the opponent into the air, and if you spend 2 bars, then you're able to basically fully punish your opponent, where they're not able to get any combos. Well, they're not able to break up against your combo, and then you're able to fatal blow, or finish the combo to do more damage. So I like that. I also do like the fact that you're able to do breakers up against fatal blows that are being done within a combo. So I think that's really good. The only thing that MK1 really screwed up with is like the armor wake ups. Especially with characters like Havoc. Havoc is absolutely fucking broken. He can do like a armor wake up by ripping his arm off and doing up to like 25 to 30% of your health if he hits you. And like basically it's like a delayed armor wake up where he's able to just spam that any single time whoever plays him, if you spend 1 bar, and it's basically a delayed armor wake up where he uses his, I want to say, the helping hand special like ability, and if he hits you, he basically chips off like 25% up, 25 to 30% at least worth of like your health bar, which I find that shit to be horrible. So I mean, overall, the game has a lot of problems, and I think right now this game is going into the Dark Ages mode, and I think we're probably not going to see MK come out for quite a long time, but I guess we'll just see what happens, and I hope I'm wrong. I think Tom Brady, said it best. I think NRS really decided to kind of, shit the bed really bad, and they just don't care about the fans. They're giving us, recycled content. And, you know, as far as Netflix buying Warner Brothers, as far as their video games, section of their company for NRS to kind of like be under their control. I just don't know what's gonna happen. Like I really think I really think Netflix is either going to not care about NRS, or they're probably gonna just say, okay, you know what? Do we really want to work on making Mortal Kombat games with them, or should we just sell them off to the better bidder? Because initially, like Warner Brothers or WB Games was supposed to, be bidded with Paramount, which was going to offer like more money to buy Warner Brothers, and I guess Warner Brothers did some scandalous crap where they weren't being fair to Paramount that wanted to buy the company, and they decided to collude with Netflix to basically be unfair in business, negotiations where Netflix was able to seal the deal, over Paramount that was going to offer more money because Netflix like bought Warner Brothers or WB for like 82 billion, and I think Paramount offered like 100 something billion. So either way, I think it's pretty stupid if you ask me. I think NRS should be disbanded. I think there should be other competitive Mortal Kombat company teams similar to Call of Duty that can build a good Mortal Kombat game. And if we have that, then that'll be pretty good. I mean, the only thing that we need in the next MK game, we need consistency, we need defensive mechanics, and we just need like really good systematic reactions in terms of having to whiff punish your like opponents a lot easier and not giving opponents free armor wake ups in order to spam a lot of damage. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I gotta get going to bed because I work an early morning job, so you know I gotta get this week out, strong. So yeah, either way, I had pretty fun. Yeah, like I had like a lot of fun making this video. So I'm gonna definitely talk about it more in the future, and yeah, I'll definitely get back with you guys on Mortal Kombat because I still have like a lot to say about this game. Yeah, so yeah, be sure to subscribe to Sikander555 Extra, his secondary channel, and yeah, this is K Rod signing out, and I will catch you guys later. Peace.